What's up, everybody? I'm Brian Lilly. I'm here with my co-host Jordan Taylor. It's great to be podcast second episode with somebody here that's a phenomenal person. Super excited to be able to have a conversation with him, the pride of Denison, Texas. Our guy Jadarian Price, aka JD. What's up, dog? How you doing?
What up? I'm great. How are y'all?
Good, man. Good. Great to have you on here. You've been doing some incredible things here for the better half of the last decade, and we're excited for your future, man.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's jump right in it, man. So we're talking about icebreaker. What I want to be able to start off with is literally talking about ice. So take me through the whole partnership of the Diamond Boys and Johnny Dang. Because one of my favorite songs growing up is "Rob the Jewelry Store and Tell Them Make Me a Grill." Like I'm all about it. So like, can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, the amount of people who sent me Paul Wall gifts to my messages was outstanding. But nah, it was an experience of a lifetime being able to go out to Houston and meet Johnny Dang and be a part of that, and just what you see on social media and YouTube and everything, like it's exactly how it is. Like that guy is energetic. Like he's super short and funny, and when he tries to speak English, but it was a good time. And I'm not usually the flashy type to wear jewelry and you know be on that stage with like all the flash and everything, but it was an opportunity I couldn't let up. When my agents called me like, "Hey, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Sure, why not? Like, that's Johnny Dang." So
Absolutely, man. And that's so cool. Like I said, it might age Brian and myself a little bit, but trust me, we know all about Johnny Dang. So that's a cool opportunity, obviously, that you had.
No, that's great, man. I think too, like to follow up on that is probably the connections that you make via that partnership, right? Like that's even more bigger than the flash or any of that, right? The conversations you get to have with those great businessmen, because we know, and we'll jump into it, is there's life after football anyways, right? And so for you to be able to have that, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
for sure, yeah.
I think, on that note too, we'll jump into a question. I think everybody knows the name, everybody knows the number on the jersey, but who is Jadarian Price? If somebody asks, what are you about?
Yeah, Jadarian Price is all the people close to me know me as JD. Um, just a guy from small town Denison, Texas, like you too, and you know, not being given too many resources in this area, but just enough and just enough support to get to where I needed to go. That started with my family for sure. My mom's been through a lot. I have a large family outside of my intermediate family, but my mom and my sisters being my rock, and on this whole journey has been a blessing. Grandparents, everything. So, family is number one for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like it sounds like to me, I think because of your upbringing and your mother and even just watching videos, just talking about being raised in a family and in a house of women, allowing you to be able to know how to treat women and it made you stronger. I think what you said is a guy from Denison, Texas. You continue to put Denison on the map. And that's what it is. It's the next generation, right? It's our generation, and then it's your generation. And then there's these little kids that wear number 24 Notre Dame jerseys that have never wore anything outside of Texas or OU jerseys in their life that are running around Denison now. And so like what does being from Denison, Texas mean to you? Like what makes our town so great? I say town just because that's what it is.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of people put their pride into where they came from. And like you said, a lot of kids and families wearing the Notre Dame jersey when all they wore was Texas or OU. And I'm right there with them. Like I didn't even know what Notre Dame was until I came there and I realized this place is special. And just looking at the looking at your name on the locker, it says your name, and then below it says where you're from, your hometown, and everybody come by like, hey, where's Denison at? Where's this and that? And people confusing it with Denton. And I'm like, no, it's Denison. Denton is the one that North Texas is at. This is Denison. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Well, I've had to, you know, correct
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot with that because it's where you're from, and even the academic side, like, you know, every orientation day or whatever syllabus day, the professor asks you, you know, tell me a fun fact or whatever. I always go with, oh, Dwight D. Eisenhower was from my hometown. Like it's just one of those things. But yeah, just being from Denison and you know, obviously you got the football aspect and the Battle of the Axe and things like that. It's just so important to us, and I have a lot of respect for where I came from for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what you're like, you hit on it, kind of the battle of the axe, but you know that's the longest running rivalry in the state of Texas history, right? Like, and so it sets you up for that USC Notre Dame rivalry, and you know those kind of things. But I think you hit the nail on the head with that. The Dwight D. Eisenhower is that's always a thing. You know, I think he was the 34th president, and I got lucky enough to wear the number 34. So that's something I used to always say the same thing. Like, oh, you Denison number 34. Why do you wear number 34? Oh, because Eisenhower was from Denison, and he was the 34th president. They're like, really? I'm like, nah, it just happened like that. But you know, kind of, yeah, man, it was great. So kind of tell us about your family, like a family foundation. I think you said, you know, it was your mom and your sisters. Kind of roll into that, man.
Yeah, my mom and my sisters, and being the oldest in the household, um, it does come with a lot of maturity and things like that. But you know, we were always into sports, and you know, they supported me and I supported them. And whether it's, you know, me and my little sister out in the front shooting hoops, and I'm being hard on her because she's got to make this move, this and that, and we're making each other better. Like that's what it's all about. And just like you said, growing up with a lot of women in my household, I learned to respect women. And you know, I've had a lot of men in my life too that have
That's
given me
huge.
a figure and image to, you know, to look at. But my mom is definitely the one who really was like, here's how to live life, here's how to treat people and things like that.
Yeah, she sounds like an incredible woman. And touching on that, you know, seeing some of the sacrifices that she made, obviously in real time when you were growing up, but also some things that you may not have realized she sacrificed until years later. You know, how did that affect or create a mindset in how you approach the game of football?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just the futures are uncertain, and nothing in life is guaranteed. And I took that to the field, you know, just what my mom went through with her battle with cancer. I took that as a battle for myself. Like every time I step on the field, treat it like it's my last game, you know. And it sounds cliche. Your head coaches will try to get you hyped up in the pregame speech and tell you that, but you have to live that and believe that yourself. And it'll make you enjoy the game more, and it'll make you play harder for real.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, us three having played as much ball as we have know that it's hard to continue to have that mindset, for weeks on end, obviously during the season, but year after year after year, battling through injuries, depth chart thing, I mean, you name it, things that a lot of people don't see that go on behind the scenes that, and don't know how difficult it is to make it, through a Division I season, let alone several, let alone be a big time starter and a big time playmaker like yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to share with you. You know, I've been wearing this a pink bracelet on my wrist since 2010. My granny was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. You know, and I came back home, and she was given 2 to 3 months to live, and she lived for 5 more years after that, and we're very thankful for that. You know, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, my one thing she told me was, you make sure you take your butt back to school. You know, you and make sure that you do this. Make sure you graduate from me, regardless of what happens. Make sure that you graduate. So, how do you think that? I think that you had this intrinsic motivation inside of you, regardless. How do you think that moment in time, whenever you found out that about your mom, I think you were young when it happened. Like, how do you think that really steered your mentality at a young age, that eventually got you to older at Denison and then obviously in Notre Dame?
Well, every kid in America from the age of 8 to 16 years old, like you think, oh, I'm finna go to the league, like NBA, NFL, and MLB. And honestly, that was my dream too at 12 years old. But when my mom got diagnosed, like I thought to myself, like, what if this is her last time on earth with her 3 children? I'm the oldest one. Like I have to take care of my sisters, and now I have to make it out, whether that's for academics or the league or something like that. Whatever I do, like, and I took that chip on my shoulder and I carried that for years, and where I'm sitting at right now, and I still carry that chip on my shoulder. Like, how am I going to take care of my family?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
And that's really cool, man. That's a great way to take it. Because at some point in time, you know, that instilled what that did was I think is it instilled what happens whenever you become the man of the house, right? Whenever you eventually God finds that woman for you, and then you know God gives you those kids. It's kind of that, you know, that maturity that you probably already had that maturity, but it hopped you in that and kind of expedited it for you. And you took it. And I know she's so proud of you, man. I know she's so proud of you. So that's awesome, Jordan.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I think that it's a testament to your character, and the way you took, you know, a lot of unfortunate circumstances and, you know, did whatever you could to turn them into something in your favor. And it takes nothing but work and just putting your head down and grinding and staying hopeful, knowing that there's a bigger plan. And I think that there's no doubt that those are things that you've done.
That's awesome, man. So let's hop into a little bit of football. So we don't
Yeah,
want to make this just about a football, but like, you know, obviously it is what it is, man. And
got it.
so
So
like, um, how do you how did you first like how did football first enter your life here in Denison? Like how did football become a part of your life? Like Jordan and I didn't start playing till Jordan was I think was maybe in 6th grade, mine
Yep.
7th grade. So kind of
Yep.
tell us your story about starting the game of football.
yeah, I think I started. I think my first year playing like organized sports, might have been 5 or 6 years old, but it was basketball. And then when I turned like 6 or 7, it was football, and it's been football ever since. And it was, I don't know if you remember, but that Salvation Army over there by the wherever it's at, like
Yeah.
that was my childhood, and playing basketball and football there. I can remember the first Colts jersey I put on. Um, and I chose the number 14, which is funny. I chose number 14 because my favorite cousin at the time was 14 years old. So I didn't know what I was doing. So that's my first memory of football right there, number 14. And then I started to fall in love with the number 4, so I had to stick with it. And then we'll get into later why I'm number 24. But yeah, I played on the Colts and, you know, back when it was Boys and Girls Club League, and then went into Killer Bees, and I just fell in love with it, man. I got competitive with it, and I hated when we lost. Like I always looked at myself like, dang, I didn't do enough, whether it was on the offensive side or defensive side. Like I hated losing, and that carried me, and that made me like really competitive up until high school and college.
That's great, man. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about kind of, and you would have a better perspective than most playing, you know, youth organized sports versus select ball, kind of with the Killer Bees. You know, what are some differences there, if any?
The biggest difference is you're going against some of the great talents in other counties and cities around the area. Like, yeah, there's Sherman and Pottsboro, but the Prospers and the Gunners and all those schools, like the Dallas area
Yeah.
used to. And when you really look at it, like if you look at some of those names, some of those kids are some college athletes now. And it's funny to go back. I
Mhm.
just the other day I went and watched my clip from 2013 when I was on the Killer Bees. We had a little CD mix, and it was from the whole season, and it was just crazy. Like the plays we were out there making, like, and a lot of those guys I'm still best friends with to this day. So it's just a lot of memories.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's a testament to Denison, and the culture here too. It being that town that Brian referred to, you know, that you do get an opportunity to become really close with a lot of people. And so that's special. So what you kind of touched on falling in love with the game. Was there a specific play you remember where you're like, oh man, football's for me, or was it just kind of a slow process of you falling in love with it?
I don't think I really fell in love with football until my freshman year of high school, if I'm being honest. Because I always loved basketball. I thought that was going to be my sport. But freshman year, first game of the season, Boda, I knew how important it was, and everybody was hyping it up and, you know, this and that. And I just remember in middle school being in the stands like, oh, that's going to be me one day. Like, I'm going to make a difference. And then next thing you know, I'm 15 years old as a freshman.
Yeah.
And I scored a touchdown that game, and that's when I really realized I was like, I love the game of football. Like, this is, if I'm able to make an impact to help, my team win and see smiles on, my family's faces and all the people I love, like that's what really drives me. So I'd say that's when I fell in love with football as freshman year in high school.
Yep.
So a few follow-ups on that. Like, number one, who was your cousin that was 14 years old at the time? Do you remember?
It was just one of my cousins, one of my girl cousins that would babysit me and my sisters at the time. And so she was my favorite cousin, and yeah. It's
That's
silly,
cool.
but yeah.
No,
That's
cool.
funny. That's funny.
No.
Hey, you never know. You never know. Like, my son, we play NCAA. He'd be like, "Dad, that's me, number 4." I'm like, "Why are you number 4?" He's like, "Because I'm 4 years old." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And so that really gets
Kids
you.
and numbers. Yeah.
So going back to what you said, Killer Bees. Shout out to Aaron Hunt. I think that you hit that exactly where it's supposed to be, like with the select, right? Like, when you were running at the Salvation Army, the Boys and Girls, the Boys Club, as we used to call it, right, over by the old high school.
Yep.
And it was just, us, right? People of Denison. But being able to take that to the next level, I think Aaron Hunt, 2013, which when Killer Bees started, you were one of that first inaugural classes. To fast forward to literally your first game of varsity football is the Battle of the
Yeah.
Axe. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, started off on a high note, dog. You know what I'm saying? And so that, like that was in the middle of a run, or maybe the start of a run of a lot of Battle of the Axes in a row, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we got to 10. So when I graduated, it was 9. So
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. That's crazy. I think Jordan's first Battle of the Axe, we blocked a field goal as time expired to win the game. And
Yeah. That was a wild one.
that was pretty cool.
But for
But it was the
sure,
last
definitely.
game of the season.
Hey, but he's right. If you didn't love the game before that, man, you did after, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's those big game moments that make you fall in love with it.
Kind of
Yeah.
talk about, I kind of want to go into, we're talking about. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And sticking with kind of high school and even earlier on, probably for you, who were, if you could pick, a couple of mentors, I know there's probably so many that really stood out to you and really helped you outside of your mom, whether it be a coach, a teacher, anyone in the community, that you can remember that really kind of took you under their wing and made sure you were on the right path.
Yeah, there's so many people in the city of Denison that helped me get to where I'm at. And, whether it's teacher, coach, or one of my best friends' parents, like helping me out. Um, Pretty much like all the coaches on the Killer Bees. Coach Johnson, we call him White Boy. Yeah, he was one of the reasons I fell in love with football, just the intensity that we had when we played on Killer Bees. But also going into high school, me and Coach Rogers were pretty close when he was the head coach, and his love for the game and especially the running back position. He was pretty biased toward the running back position, and I got lucky because I played running back. But just him having the trust in me as a young kid, and all the years he was there for 3 years when I was in high school. So, but he also taught me so many lessons. Coach Rogers, we sat down and had a meeting every Tuesday, and we called them the life meetings, and it was just it was not football related at all, and it was literally just about how to treat people right, how to shake someone's hand, look them in the eye when you shake their hand, how to remember names, like all this stuff, and I'll never forget that. And he prepared me more than I could ever imagine before I even got to Notre Dame, because Notre Dame does a good job doing preparing you as a young man, but Coach Rogers really helped me out a lot in that. Um, I guess for like teachers, uh, Miss Rico was she was a um she was one of the teachers in high school, English teacher, and she just always believed in me, and I really respected that. And whether it was the paper I was writing or my upcoming game, like she was always motivative and coached me up, when she needed to. So I really respect all those people that have paved the way for me.
That's great, man. That's great. And I know you've got many, and it's too many to list right here, especially on the spot, but just a couple right there that I know, obviously, clearly hearing you talk about, I made an impact.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, though, what Coach Rogers did with you with like live meetings, with people, because a lot of times, that's kind of the stuff. We have a thing in my program called like Man Up, and it's like it was mostly on Mondays, but one of a pastor in town comes and basically it has this voluntary program of how to be a man from a biblical perspective, and and there's some of those lessons that are taught in there, and I think that. Especially guys, it doesn't matter if you have a father figure in your life or not, right? Like you need to hear more and more and more positive male influences in our life over the course of time, because especially people that are having success, that's whenever people will it's easy for you to be susceptible to people just letting you do whatever you want to do. And so when you can, if you possibly get steered off the wrong path, um people let you do that. And so that's cool that Coach Rogers did that. Great guy. I remember when Coach Rogers used to let me come and talk to him. But you had Coach Rogers for 3 years, and then you had Coach Whitson for
Hmm.
your last year.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. How was
Cool.
that? How was that? How was that coaching change? Because when I was in there, Coach Brown, I went from my freshman year was Coach Brown, then my sophomore year was Coach White. And so how was that kind of coaching change while you were in high school?
First off, Coach White, if that's the one I'm thinking of, rest in peace. He also was a huge role model and support system for me. Obviously, he didn't coach me, but I knew him through Coach Rogers, and I actually worked a little summer job with him. But he also taught me so many life lessons and what it is to be a person of grit and respect and to others and things like that. But yeah, the coaching change between when Coach Rogers left, I was hurt. I'm not gonna lie, just because what we had
Yeah.
accomplished and what I had accomplished as an individual, and what he helped me with. Like I said earlier, the future's uncertain. So going into my senior year, I was like, "It's my last year of high school. Like, what if it all mess up? Like, what if we lose a Sherman again? Like, all this negativity is going through my head." But when you trust the process and you trust those people that you grew up with playing football from 6 years old, and now y'all are together playing high school ball, trying to go to the next level, D1, D2, no matter what it is, because you just love football. That's where you find your ground at, and you can find some peace with those guys.
Yeah.
For sure. And kind of talking about that uncertainty. When was that moment, that you knew Notre Dame was the place for you?
A lot of people were in my ear about staying close to home, and I thought I needed to just because I'm really close to my family. But um, I think it was just I don't know exactly what you know made me choose Notre Dame initially, but as soon as I stepped on campus, I was like, oh yeah, that was the right choice. Like the people I already met on the first day, the from the grotto to the touchdown Jesus, like all that's cool and all, but it was just like what you felt walking those halls and the sidewalk and going into the stadium, like you just felt it. And I didn't know much about Notre Dame until I got there. And when I learned about the history, I was like, this place is special. And over my first spring there playing spring ball, like I just made so many, like I made so many lifelong friends in my first semester there. And I was taught so many things. I knew it was the place. And you know, they say it all the time, you either love Notre Dame or you hate them. So, and I love them till I die. So,
You said something right there that I want to kind of touch on about, your first semester making some really good friends, some close friends. And I know that growing up in Denison, as we alluded to earlier, you develop a lot of those relationships with kids that you'll be friends with for life. How did the NIL, the transfer portal, the ability to kind of jump ship, if you will, whenever, how did growing up in Denison kind of shape your mindset of wanting to stick it out with the guys you came in with and stay with the team that you came in with initially? I just want to hear you talk about that a little bit.
yeah, when you think about high school, like all the guys in the DFW area and Frisco, like there's so many different high schools, and you can grow up in one city and you're like, okay, once I get to middle school, I gotta decide which one of these 6 high schools do I want to go to. Growing up in Denison, we only had one high school. We knew we were gonna be Yellow Jackets. So like I couldn't imagine growing up
Yep.
and thinking, oh, which one of these do I want to be? Like I always knew I wanted to be a Denison Yellow Jacket, and much respect to people who transfer schools and whatnot, but that's just not what I was used to coming from Denison, and that didn't change at Notre Dame just because I knew the place that Notre Dame was and how special it was, and they made me who I was, so I couldn't. Not only did I owe that to them, but it was definitely something that was going to make me better. It was going to make my senior year the best possible year it can be.
Man, I love that. I couldn't agree more. I think you made the right decisions doing that. And I think a lot of guys, maybe take some missteps nowadays, thinking that could be the answer. Some guys, it does work out. I think that there are certain situations where it can, but I think there's something to say for your character and the type of man that you are, that you stuck it out there, and just knew that, that's what you were about.
Yeah, for sure.
So whenever you like talk to me about this. So whenever you first get to Notre Dame, you graduate early, correct?
Hmm.
So you graduate early, you're there for spring, and you get injured, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're there, you're a long way from home. Um, and I don't believe in coincidences, right? And God sets you up for be able to have resiliency. But kind of take us through whenever you get there and you meet all these people, you're doing well, and then this adversity strikes in your life. Kind of how was that? How was navigating through that at that time?
Yeah. Well, first off, Denison didn't allow you to graduate early, I don't think, because it was this whole thing. But I was the exception just because I was going to Notre Dame. So shout out to Denison High School. But um, yeah, I stepped on the campus. I made a huge impact. I learned the playbook. It was hard. It's college. Like it's a different playbook. It's a different workouts. Like everything's more intense. Everyone else, you're going against other 4 and 5 stars. Like everyone's good. But I showed a lot of talent and the coaches noticed, and not many people know this, but like going into that summer, like I was really fighting for potentially starting running back job as a freshman, just what I showed in spring ball. But then here comes June of 2022, and that's when I tore my Achilles during like OTAs or whatever, and like literally non-contact. So like you said, like God puts you through things where you're like, I don't know how in the world I'm gonna get out of this situation. But that's ultimately what makes you, a tough human being and get through anything in life.
So funny story. Whenever I was our quarterback where I worked at a previous school was getting recruited by Notre Dame, and I got the opportunity to meet Coach Freeman, and who I think is amazing, and I think that it's great that you got to play for him, and somebody that I would want to play for myself. But I was having a conversation with him, and I told him I'm from Denison, and I was proud of you, and he told me that he goes, man, it's unfortunate what happened to him, but he was really on pace to possibly be our starting running back that year, and I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He goes, but he's gonna be all right because I think it was 2000, maybe 23 when I think you were hopping back from it, when I was talking to him about it. And so, so did you have the coaching change while you were there? Was that happen before that you got to Notre Dame?
So the guy that recruited me, Lance Taylor, um, which I was pretty close with him. He came and visited me and my family plenty of times. I step on campus and he leaves after a week of me being on campus, which just goes to show, it's a business and it's always changing. The future's uncertain. So you just gotta sometimes in those moments you do gotta look out for yourself, but also you can look for some support with your teammates and everyone else who's going through the same thing. And so, yeah, when Coach Taylor leaves and takes the Louisiana, uh, not
You get my
Louisiana,
dogs back there.
Louisville, I do, yeah, the Louisville job. Um, and then I waited 2 more weeks without a coach, and I'm like, all right, I'm a freshman. Like, what am I going to do? And then I was blessed with one of the greatest coaches at the running back position, or period. And that's Dylan McCullough. Like, I just got done talking to a guy who used to play for the Chiefs, and he was like, "You don't know how lucky you are that you got Coach McCullough as your college running back coach. He coached in the league, he coached in college, and just how he carries himself is like no other. And the way he makes you feel as a player, it just really makes you want to be the best you can be for yourself, but also for him. And him going through so many trials and tribulations himself, and you can connect with him. I was pretty blessed to have a coach like that.
Yeah, absolutely, dog. I think that that's the crazy thing is, we've all had position changes in college, and that's the stuff that you don't sign up for. But if you pick the school for the school, then in the long run you're going to be fine, right? As my uncle Tars told me, he said, regardless, you may not have that coach for the same time, and I didn't. But he said, as long as you pick the school for what the school offers you, then everything's going to be okay. Um, so I think I think that just goes back to your just kind of mental toughness. Um, Talk us through. I think there's some really cool things that have come off into your career, and we'd be remiss to not bring this kind of stuff up. But at Notre Dame, whenever Coach White was our coach. So Roger White, who you're talking about, that passed away, was with Coach Rogers. Cody White, who was with us before Coach Rogers. He's head coach at Plano, but he always talked about work hard, improve every day, be unselfish, and be the best. I think one of the coolest stories in college football is the unselfishness that's displayed amongst yourself and Jeremiah Love. I think that's well reported. But man, just talk about that, because that's not normal. We talk about that with our kids all the time. Like, we're innately selfish.
Mhm.
And so it's not normal for us to be unselfish. So kind of talk to us about that relationship and kind of what made y'all so close.
Yeah, Coach Freeman talks about all the time what you just said. Um, the default for a human being is to be selfish and to look out for themselves. And that's just what it is. That's just how we evolved. But the situation with me and Jeremiah, I don't think like, you look on the media and you hear what people say, like, oh, these guys are so unselfish and like this is unheard of. Like, we were just being us. Like, we just love to compete together and watch each other grow. And that's just how we went at it. And the things that we did in practice showed up in the game. We learned from each other every single day. So that's one of my best friends. He will be for the rest of my life. And but he's also one of a kind talent, and you can't knock that. Like, his explosiveness, the moves that he makes, things like that. And so I have so much confidence in myself that I knew I can play next to a Heisman candidate and the Doak Walker winner. So, and I wasn't thinking about how people would perceive that. I thought about, that's just how I am. That's just how confident I am in my game. But we never hated on each other. We never took from each other's success. Like, it was always like, I want to see you win. But also it was like a friendly competition. Like, you do that, I want to try to do it better too. And it's all healthy. It's what's best for the team. You know, a lot of people wanted me to transfer and be the main guy, but I'm like, nah, like I chose Notre Dame for a reason, so I'm gonna be here, and despite who's next to me. So
Yeah,
I think you said
that's
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he said it. I think that the type of relationship that you guys were able to develop, the old saying, iron sharpens iron. I think you guys definitely made
Agree.
each other better, competing every day. It sounds like on and off the field, which off the field, as you know, with college teammates can take your um, relationship to a whole different level with your teammates. And so that's awesome. And I also think that can prepare you for the league, the next step in your journey. Because, hey, as you know, everybody can play in the NFL. There are going to be guys that you're, fighting for, fighting to beat it, for a job, but, you're sitting in meetings with them every day, trying to help each other out at the same time. And so I think that that's something that's going to prepare you for that. So that's awesome.
yeah.
No, Jordan, let's go right here real fast. Let's make sure we talk about our dog. Let's go ahead and talk about this, right? First team All-American Sporting News, kick returner. Second team All-American Walter Camp, special teams. Third team
Hello.
All-American Associated Press, all purpose. Horning finalist for most versatile. Jet Award finalist for returner. Notre Dame Special Teams Player of the Year. Dog.
The list goes on.
Let's
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Hey, and I know and I it's you're probably like us, right? We're competitive. Thank you for telling me that I did a good job. I appreciate it. But at the same time, I'm just moving on to the next. But have you sat back and have you really just sat back and just thought like how special this? I know it didn't end the way that you necessarily wanted it to end, but how special this year was for you personally.
Uh, Thinking back, I remember how rough it was after the Miami game. Um, I knew all the hard work I put in, and I knew me coming back this year was going to be the right decision. Ultimately, it ended up being the right decision. But after that Miami game, not having a lot of carries, not we lost. I was like, dang, like this, like I got to pick it up. Like something has to happen, and nothing really changed. It was just I just kept going to work. I just kept my head down, and I just right, left, right, left. And we played Texas A&M the second game of the season, and I went off, and that's when people really started to notice. I feel like, but that's who I always was. It was just I gained so much more confidence from this season, compared to last season, and also I was older and more, smart about the game of football. But this season, looking back, this has been a good season, and I'm proud of myself. But also, the more you look at it, as a competitive individual, um, I'm still mad I didn't win the Paul Warner Award. I'm still mad I didn't win the Jet Award, and I should have had 3
Mm.
kickoff returns and 1,000 yards rushing, which I didn't get. Like those are my goals. I just like they were, and I didn't get them. But just
Yeah.
knowing I still, put in all
Yeah.
that work and made an impact for my team is what really matters. And now it's set me up to be in a position to set myself up for life.
Well, I think that, what makes you so great is that, you are a little bit bummed that you didn't reach those personal goals you set, because that's what you set out to do and that's what you expect to do. But nonetheless, as we mentioned at the beginning, man, we are so proud of you. The city of Denison is so proud of you and so much more. And it really is incredible, the things you accomplished, not just this year, but in the years prior. I want to talk about kind of some of those kick returns specifically. I did a little bit of punt returning in the NFL by default. I think one of our guys had a case of the fumbles, so they had to throw somebody back there reliable. But I know a little bit about what goes on back there. Tell me about what you're thinking. When the ball's kicked, when you're waiting to catch it, to when you first break through that front line and think, oh, this might be the one. And then when you actually get in the end zone, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why people get so scared with the concept of kick return. Yeah, you have 10 guys run. I say 10 because the kicker is just the safety guy. He's not gonna do nothing. You got 10 guys running at you full speed. And like, but you also have the whole field to work with. when else in the whole offense do you have the whole field to work with? Like kick return, you got 53 in the third, and then you got 100 yards long. Like
I
every
like
time
it.
every time I'm back there, I'm like, I can score this. Like every time I catch the ball, I feel like I can score every time. But the thing is, you're going against other really good athletes, and the holes start to close, and people start to shed off blocks and stuff. So that doesn't end up being true. But the moments when you do break past the first level and get up to the floater guys and the safety guys, it's like, okay, like let my talent take over, let my speed take over, and then it's there. And every time you get past the 50-yard line and you're running free, like it never gets old. It never changes. Like you can literally, like as I'm running, I can literally hear the crowd start roaring and get louder as I'm running. So I've been blessed to be able to do that 3 times in my career, and man, that feeling never get old.
I know we've seen all of them, and I know so many other people have. Man, it is a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, especially how the league is right now, how the NFL has changed their kickoff return rules. It's very valuable that's a very valuable trait that I think is going to be, it's just going to add to your, draft stock. And, as we kind of like transition into that, Jordan had the opportunity to be able to play in the league for a good amount of time and be able to have the success that he did and get a Super Bowl. That ring is huge. Like you need to see it sometime. Like it's unbelievable. But kind of talk us about I'm gonna ask about kind of your thoughts on declaring for the draft, and then I'm gonna let Jordan kind of talk about that training of it because when I was getting done with playing football, I said, you know what, my homeboy's gonna go train. I'm gonna go be a student teacher because I know this coaching thing is gonna be a little bit better for me. I'm more athletic than most, but I ain't going down that path. Let me go ahead and go be a coach. So kind of talk about your when you decided to declare. What kind of brought you through that process?
Yeah, I think first off, I remember, I don't know how old I was, but I remember the Broncos were preparing for the Super Bowl, and we were so excited. We were like, bro, Jordan Taylor, like Denison legend, like he about to, he's a part of the Broncos and playing for the Super Bowl. Like this is special. Like everyone's tuned in, and like I've never won a state championship. I've never won a college championship. I hope to win a Super Bowl when I get to the NFL. So that is like the next like great thing, and to know somebody who's done it is truly special. But going into my decision on the draft, going into this year, I knew I was declaring after the season. I already knew, like there was no doubt. Like I already put it in my manifestation. Like going into my senior year, this is my last year. Even though I have one more year of eligibility left, I thought I put enough on the film, and I had confidence in myself that this 2025 season was going to be my best season yet, which I think it was. Um, and yeah, and I just like the past three years, my coaches had a lot of trust in me, and I always knew that I was going to the NFL. And I know that sounds like, oh, like you can't just say like you knew you were going to NFL. Like I expected to go to NFL, and now that I declared, hearing so many people congratulate me and so like shocked that it's really happening, I'm like, well, yeah, I was once a kid from Denison, Texas that didn't have much and all this and that. So the fact that I'm declaring for the NFL draft and it's about to be a reality is actually surreal. But this is what I've been working for a long time. So
Man, well, it's an exciting time, and cherish every moment. You deserve it. You've worked your tail off your entire life, and now it's just about continuing to do what you do and being you, and watch your blessings continue to kind of stack up. There's no doubt that Brian and I believe that great things are coming for you, and it's exciting. But I just want to touch on kind of your training right now. I can remember getting ready for combine pro day training. I mean, it is rigorous. You're waking up, you're working out first thing in the morning, you're going to a quick breakfast, and you're going back for a second workout, lunch, maybe a yoga massage session at night, and then rinse and repeat, day after day. Kind of talk about your day to day right now.
yeah, your body's just put through so much stress every day Monday through Friday, and even on Saturdays we do our bench test. So it's really Monday through Saturday, and you only get Sunday off. But it's our job now. We literally don't have any school. We don't have anything else going on. You might have media stuff here and there, but it's strictly football. You're really preparing for, um, my agent calls it the underwear Olympics, the NFL Combine. You're really preparing for that, but then you got some time to prepare for football and get smarter for the game of football and just get better overall. Like, in this whole stretch from once you declare preparing all the way up until the end of your rookie year, I've heard it's the longest stretch of football in your life, and you want it to just be over. And so I'm not feeling it yet, but I'm just focused on every day getting better and getting to my biggest goal, which is making it to the league. But also, that's not my biggest goal anymore. My biggest goal is to stay in the league as long as I can. Reach the second contract, reach the third contract if I can, and just make everyone proud, including.
Absolutely.
So
Well, you're doing a heck of a job there. And talk about that a little bit. You said it is, going straight from a season into this training and then obviously anticipating an entire NFL season. What do you do, to take care of your body? Eat healthy, obviously hydrate. I know you're doing all those things.
yeah, you said it. Eat healthy. No more Whataburger. I told myself that I wouldn't be able to eat Whataburger until the day after the draft. Till the day after the draft, and I'll be able to uh have Whataburger.
Okay.
Maybe maybe have a little old fashioned on the rocks. Like, I told myself I can't do that until I get drafted from this point on. So
There you go. Hey, I
I'm
like it,
full
man.
go. I'm full go. Like, it's all like I'm super locked in 100%. And from the recovery, because so many people think it's all about practice, rigorous work, but all the behind the scenes work is really working on your body. So that's the main important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That may be something we need to talk to your agent about it, like the celebratory Whataburger. Maybe we need to figure out a situation where we can, not at the new Whataburger in Denison, the old Whataburger in Denison. Maybe there's a little bit of celebration that could be over there by the Munson Stadium. You know what I'm saying? That's the best Whataburger because it's seasoned, the grill's old, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Jordan's brother actually ate a quadruple meat cheeseburger from there one time. I witnessed it.
Man.
And so
Hey.
no, that's cool though. But I think that you got to set those things for yourself and set those goals for yourself. Especially as an athlete, that's what is continuing to kind of show it as you talk about it is you setting goals and achieving goals, and I think that that's just how God wired your brain to be. And I think that's really awesome, and I think that's how you're successful. As you're navigating through this kind of NFL draft process. What are the things that you're kind of like? What excites you the most? I know that the coolest thing you said before you said that is not being just cool with making it to the NFL, right? I think a lot of people, even Johnny Manziel, talk about that. His dream was always to make it to the NFL. It's getting to that next contract, getting to the next one from there. Like, but what excites you the most about this kind of process and what you see on the horizon?
Really just being a part of historic teams and teams that I've watched my whole life. Um, Even if I don't get to play for the Dallas Cowboys, who I'm a fan of, it is what it is. I'm in the league, so. But no, I'm excited
I'm
for
sure the
every. I'm
Cowboys fans out there will love that.
I'm
Hey, I
excited
do.
for
I do.
I know.
I'm excited for it all. I'm excited to play ball again. We got our season got cut short because of names I won't mention, but a name that is mentioned in the national championship, so it is what it is. But our season got cut short, so I'm just excited to play football again, man. All this training and stuff, it is what it is. But put a ball in my hand and let's go to work.
Let's
I,
do it,
I
dog.
I love that, man. I can remember, one of the first things I was told in one of my NFL meetings was, that NFL stands for not for long.
Hmm.
And so, it is. You can't get complacent. A lot of guys do. You see it all the time with guys that are even high round, first round, second round draft picks, that have all the talent in the world but get complacent, and get kind of passed up quickly. So I think there's no doubt you've got the right mindset, and we're looking forward to you getting back into playing some ball.
Yeah.
So before we get into this a little bit more draft stuff, so like you said something, you kind of was talking about the number 24. Like talk to us about that. Number 24. That seems like it's a significant number for you if you would like to share.
Yeah. Like I said, originally basketball was my favorite sport. Um, and Kobe Bryant, just as an athlete, not a basketball player, as an athlete, as a person, that was my idol. And I didn't feel like number 8 was the right choice for running back. So I was like, all right, Kobe Bryant's my favorite player. I'm gonna choose 24. Like that's why I chose 24. And I know he was a basketball legend, and some people say it might not translate, but I did that because I'm Mamba mentality. Like that's why I wore number 24. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And two, it's a because of that Mamba mentality, and that's interesting that, you then have your Achilles like Kobe, and be able to bounce back from that, in kind of the process of getting back healthy. I think that it doesn't I show my team all the time, videos, different motivation stuff, and it doesn't necessarily matter who it is, what profession. It's successful people are successful people, and there's a reason. There's key traits that each one of those people have. But I think in the Mamba mentality, one of the things he talks about is if you want to be somebody that wakes up at 4:30 and works out every morning, wake up at 4:30 and work out every morning, right? And as something that seems so elementary, is yet so hard for us. Human nature would suggest, oh, give me the snooze button, give me something else. That's really cool though to be able to have that. I tell kids all the time because they, as a head football coach, you kind of run into those problems. Hey, coach, can I get a number of this? Can I get a number of that? So we make them earn their numbers. But if somebody doesn't get the number that they don't like, I say, listen, I used to teach Romeo and Juliet back in the day, and they used to talk about what's in a name, and a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. And so, what makes does a person make a number, or does a number make a person? They're like, I don't know what that means. And I said, the person makes a number. Michael Irvin wore number 47.
mm.
And his coach said it was because he looked like a 747 jet flying down the runway, but it probably was just a sorry number that he gave to him. But he made the most out of it. So I'm glad that you have something to yours. I don't know, Jordan. I don't know if I know why you were. Coach Turner gave me number 34, and that was the reason. I just had it and I rolled with it. What about you? Like,
Man,
how did you get 15?
I was 15 in high school, and it was really just I think a Coach White and a Coach Wig decision. I mean, because when I growing up, I remember Scooter Means wearing 11, and then obviously Stanley Morrison wearing 11. So that's what I wanted to do. I want to wear
Yeah.
number 11 if I'm playing quarterback for Denison. And I think it was during the Tebow run there in Florida. Tebow was 15, so they threw 15 at me, and I was a little hesitant, but hey, like you just said, I had to make that number.
Coach Turner, he said to me, I started my first game against Dallas Kimball, and and he comes and sits next to me. He goes, "You know why you got 34?" And I said, "No, sir." He goes, "It's my number, and I only let people wear my number that I think are able to wear my number." And he puts his
Respect.
arm around me. And he says, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Yes, sir, kinda." And he goes, "Don't be nervous. God made you to play football. He made you for this moment right now." He said, "You're supposed to be here." And you don't know how many times I've told a freshman that exact same thing.
Shout out
Because I'm
Coach
telling
Turner.
you, like Jeremy Turner, number 34, he wouldn't let me wear it in baseball, but he let me wear it in football.
No, that's
So
awesome.
anyways, that's cool, man. Jordan, you got any other questions about the draft or anything of that like that?
No, man. I know that it's a stressful yet exciting time. And I think you've got the right mindset about it all, man. It just put the work in. I think it was Ray Allen that said, the secret is that, there is no secret. The work is the work. And I think that's kind of your mindset. So I love it.
Appreciate it.
We're gonna kind of wrap up here. JD, we're coming to an end, but like when your name gets called on draft day, what's the first thing you're gonna think about? Right? Like what's the first thing that you're gonna think about whenever your name gets called on that day?
Um, just inner like thinking back to my 12-year-old self, like we did it, we made it. That's what I'm immediately going to think about. And then obviously I'm going to give my mom a hug. Got to give moms a hug. Um, and then I'm gonna think about how I got to go to work and make something happen for this team. Then after that, I'm gonna think about how I'm gonna spend my first $1 million. But no, I'm just
I
kidding.
love that.
But no, I'm excited, man.
Hey, we know you'll be smart with it, man. You're smart. We know you'll do the right things with it.
And then after that, it's when am I gonna get this Whataburger?
Yeah,
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I can remember back to that time. I wasn't even drafted. I went undrafted, signed, an undrafted deal with the Broncos, but I can still just distinctly remember that moment with my dad in my childhood bedroom. Just overwhelmed with
awesome.
emotion, but ready to go at the same time and go prove myself, and show, the Broncos that they made the good decision. So excited for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we do our virtual flowers, um, this is a question that Jordan came up with that I think is great. What do you want kids in Denison to take from your journey? Like, what do you want kids in Denison to take from Jadarian Price's, JD's journey, as they're kind of going and navigating the same way that you thought about Jordan in the Super Bowl? People are going to think about you. And so, what do you want those kids to take from your journey?
I just say the sky is the limit, man. Like don't limit yourself to, you know, this small town we grew up in. Like you can do whatever you want to do, and with all the hard work and everything, like go explore, go travel, go see the world, go do these things and set yourself up. Like there's so much more out there. Like I love Denison. I love the people I grew up with, but there's so much more out there and there's so much more to learn. Just be open to it. But also just know that like you've seen people that have made it out and that can do it and still doing it at a high level. Like continue to pour into yourself and do the things that's going to help you get to that level, and ultimately like become a great husband, become a great father, and become a great brother and friend to all your friends and family, and just make yourself proud and make everyone else proud.
I think that's a fantastic message to our youth out there, man. Incredible.
I think Fred Washington, RIP, he passed away early in his NFL career, was one of the last people to get drafted from Denison. There's been people that have had the opportunity to play in the league, but one of the last people to get drafted from Denison. So I'm excited for you, man. I'm really excited for this thing. I'm excited for your mom and your family and the extended family, the people that love you, all those things. But as we come to an end, we do a thing at the very end, and it's really for our guests. We did it ourselves last week, but we kind of just things like virtual flowers. Who do you want to give virtual flowers to? Just somebody in your life, whoever it is, from any walk of your life that you want to give those flowers to, so they can get them and they can still smell them while they're here.
Yeah, definitely want to give virtual flowers to my mom. We talked about her a lot, but I honestly can't think of anyone else more deserving. And that'll never change. I've been blessed to have so many people support me from the city of Denison, and there's so many names. Like I couldn't sit here and every time I bring up another name, I got another story and some more. Oh, this is why and this was my first memory of that person, but I just can't do that. And
Yeah.
but my mom is always at the top. You know, uh, so as far as all that she's done, all that she's sacrificed, and got me to where I am.
That's awesome, man. Shout out mom for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, Jordan, you want to finish up with anything before I bring it to a close?
Yeah, man. Thanks everybody for stopping by again for another episode. Obviously, we had an incredible guest today in JD. Again, hop in the comments, leave a comment of anybody that has been impactful to you within the community in Denison, and we will see you guys next time.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I think that was great, Jordan. JD, thank you so much for getting on with us. We're so proud of you, dog, just for all you're doing. Continue to be yourself. Continue to just shoot for the stars. This is really cool for us to be able to have this platform to just kind of continue to make awareness to people of Denison that are doing great things, either doing it themselves or making an impact, whatever it may be. This is really cool, and especially for you. May God bless you as you continue to go on your journey, dog. We're so excited. And we'll definitely be there. We're thankful for you being on here, but we're thankful for you just being who you are, because you're somebody that's easy to get behind and support because you do things the right way. Continue to do that, and the sky's the limit, dog. You can finish up. You got anything else before we cut it off? It's on you, JD.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for having me. And when y'all reached out and when Coach Means told me what y'all are doing, I thought, man, this is the best thing that could happen for Denison. And this is just a start. I want to do things similar to y'all and be able to, be a constant message to the youth and to everyone who, whether you're going through something, struggling, or just trying to find your identity. Like, I think this is a great resource, and I appreciate y'all for what y'all doing and for having me on. And there's more to come. It's great to be, man.
Hey, we
Absolutely.
appreciate your time, man, your honesty, and continuing to be a great example for everyone out there.
That's it. Episode 2 of Great to Be podcast. JD, we appreciate you, dog. Everybody else, hey, thanks for tuning in this long. I'm out.